Hello and welcome. This is me, Martin, and this is CELTA Experiences. Today we're going to be looking at topics not to include within your classes. Now, I've been teaching for around 14 years and I have seen some teachers include certain topics which I would not necessarily think about including, and it can be quite sensitive and it's awfully difficult to include certain topics which are considered unsuitable, particularly for children or young adults. I thought with this video I would share with you a couple of things that you should not include and a couple of experiences that I've witnessed with teachers teaching certain things. We've all been there, we've all been teaching, and certain students try and get their teacher to use particular topics or look at particular topics to teach. And if you're teaching Chinese students, and say you're teaching in China, for example, there's certain topics that you shouldn't consider using. You shouldn't talk about Taiwan, you shouldn't talk about Tiananmen Square, and you shouldn't talk about Tibet, because these things are considered unsuitable. And particularly for certain nations and certain countries, we all have a history and we all have something which is rather embarrassing. And if a student wants to try and evoke a teacher or get a response from the teacher, then it can be quite bad for the teacher themselves if the students end up complaining. There are 6 topics that I never include within a class, and I would recommend that you follow the same logic, and hopefully you should be fine when teaching. The first topic that I don't include is about dating and relationships, or sexual relationships, because these things are inappropriate, particularly for younger students, and I would not even expect students to talk about this, because you're there as a teacher, you're there to try and provide the language, and you're there to give the students some opportunity to practice English that they necessarily wouldn't have. But if you talk about sex and dating, for example, then this is not the sort of topic that I would consider. And if a student raises it and says, "Oh, how do you say such and such in English?" and it's about this particular topic, I would say, "That's very good, but today we're looking at this," and I would divert the lesson away. The second topic that I would not include in a lesson is about religion. You can't get away with it if there's certain festivities and certain celebrations which are connected with religion, but I would not focus a whole lesson on a particular religion. So for example, in the UK we have Easter and we have Halloween, and these were, well, Easter's the biggest celebration after Christmas for Christians, but with certain traditional religions, Halloween was also another tradition. But I would talk about Easter and Easter eggs and the culture of Easter in the UK, but I wouldn't focus solely on the religion itself. And again, if students are trying to and ask your opinion about a particular religion, then again, I would divert that question, or I would say, "I'm afraid I'm not going to express my opinion." It's very important that you respect your students, but also it's very important for students to respect your opinion when it comes to not actually focusing on these topics. The third topic that I would not include in a lesson is the language of curse words. And we've all been there where a student asks, we say this in our language, but what can you say in English? And I would not even go near that type of topic, because traditionally it's considered inappropriate, and for me, it's not right. And then actually there was a teacher a number of years ago that I had the pleasure of working with, and this teacher was very good. He was very patient with the students, very good with kids, But then unfortunately, he decided to focus solely on curse words and quite foul language. And unfortunately for him, he was unaware that a student had taken a photo of the whiteboard, sent it to their parent, and then the parent got in touch with the school with the image, and then the school obviously had to take decisive action and get rid of the teacher because it was not the sort of standard that the school was expecting, nor was the student expecting that type of standard as well. So when it comes down to swear words, curse language, foul language, don't even think about it. Do not even go there. The next topic that I don't consider looking at is war, historic war, or war, relevant war, or recent war, because unfortunately every country in the world has been the result of war, or they've had issues with certain countries before. And if we were looking at France and the UK, our relations have been very strained many years ago, but I would not even consider talking about the history between France and the UK and the war between France and the UK, or Spain and the UK, because it's not right. And even if you go to another country and they have a history with particular countries, then don't even go there. Don't talk about it, because it's happened, but you've got to move on. The fifth topic that I don't look at is the topic of drugs. And for me, if you express your opinion about drugs, then certain students may have their own opinion, or if you're a bit more conservative and the students are a bit more liberal, then there's going to be some issue there. And I would not even look at drugs, just like the other topics, because it's really inappropriate. And even if a student brings it up, as I've mentioned before, consider diverting the conversation, saying that's an interesting idea, but today we're going to have a look at this, and then continue with the lesson. Obviously, there's certain countries that are a bit more liberal when it comes down to drugs, and you only have to hop on a plane to Amsterdam, and then you're in a country which is a bit more liberal, a bit more relaxed. But then if you go to certain other countries, maybe the Middle East or elsewhere like that, then you're going to have some serious issues if you express your opinion or, your appreciation or support about drugs with certain more liberal countries. The final topic that I never look into is politics. And again, just like the other topics, politics, unfortunately, is very divisive. You either agree with your students or you disagree, and it can cause a lot of friction in the class. And I would not even consider the opinion of politics or things that are happening in the country. For example, a number of years ago, the biggest political decision for many people in the UK was obviously Brexit. And it was very divisive. There were certain people that agreed to Brexit, certain people that disagreed to Brexit. And I'm not going to tell you which one I was, but and we're not here to argue. And this is exactly what happens within a classroom. Obviously, students were very keen to hear my opinion about Brexit, but I said I'm not going to talk about it because it's inappropriate, and I respect people's whatever opinion they have. But let's continue with the lesson. And then that's what happened. Obviously, that's the 6 key topics that I don't include in a lesson. Obviously, you can include certain current affairs or things that happen in the news, but you have to be a bit selective with the material or the topic itself. And I hope this video was useful for you. And don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. It's always great to hear your opinions about certain topics that you don't include. And again, thank you for watching. Take it easy and happy teaching. Bye-bye.